Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Coda, and I'm here with my first ever Total War Battle Report replay. And let me just tell you, it was quite the ordeal. A lot harder than I ever would have guessed. I for sure have a new respect for the guys who do this so well on the daily. So fair warning that this is going to be far from perfect, so yeah, bear with me, and any feedback would be more than welcome. Regardless, this was a ton of fun, but I really don't plan on making these types of replay videos the primary focus of this channel. There are already tons of really great streamers and channels out there who do this very well and are way better than I am, but you know, fuck it, once in a while it won't hurt, right? So, I hope you enjoy my attempt at a battle replay, and let's go! Alright, so quick rundown of my opponent's army here. He is led by a generic general of the Empire, but he's pretty much stripped down of almost all of his abilities, and obviously he's not on a mount. Second in command is a Bright Wizard, the Fire Wizard, so he comes with Fireball, the Cascading Fire Cloak, and the Fire Vortex spell. I forget exactly what it's called, but it's the one that isn't the Burning Head. And then of course he also has Kindle Flame, which makes my entire army a little bit weaker to fire. His infantry corps is 3 units of regular swordsmen, 1 unit of spearmen with shields, so they have a higher melee defense, 1 unit of halberdiers, which are anti-large AP, and 1 unit of greatswords, just an all-around solid AP unit as well. His ranged infantry consists of 2 units of handgunners, which are always a solid choice with high damage and high AP, definitely a high threat unit. And then he brought a lot of cav. Well, in my opinion, he brought 3 units. 1 Empire Knight, 1 Reiksguard, and 1 of the Demigryph of Halberds, which are the anti-large variant. Both the Empire Knights and Reiksguard are leveled up by 1 Chevron. And then lastly but not leastly, of course, he brought the fireworks, 2 Hellstorm rocket batteries. So I think this guy likes fire, which means that I like this guy. So let's see how he does. First up, I brought a generic Chaos Lord on a Manticore. No potions, no Filth Mace. He does have his stock abilities, and he's going to be the one to lead my army and lead my air force, as evidenced by my second in command, the Chaos Sorcerer of Death, who is also in the air. He has the classics Spirit Leech and Fate of Buna. His job is to turn the tide of a critical engagement by dealing damage with those 2 spells. And the third goon is my Exalted Hero. I really like this guy, although I realize he's kind of a gold sink, but he's just tough, a lot tougher than the other melee hero choices in the game. For my infantry corps, I have 3 units of Forsaken, 1 unit of Chaos Warriors with shields, and 2 units of Chaos Warriors with halberds. The halberds are my only true anti-large and armor piercing in the entire army, so yeah, target priority will be critical. Oh, and of course I have 2 units of Aspiring Champions as well. Their leadership buff is essential, in my opinion, when you have an army that's pretty small, which, you know, is often the case for Chaos. And then for Cav, I have 1 unit of Chaos Knights accompanied by a unit of Poison Warhounds. I like to use these guys together, at least I try to, and these Knights are the melee variant, so they are a little bit more forgiving, but they aren't great against other Cav units. So yeah, a very small army, as is often typical for Chaos, and it relies very heavily on the terror caused by the 3 monsters, so let's see if they're scary enough to do the job. Alright, so let's go. Right off the bat, I move my front line straight up the pipe before I even really survey what he has, because in this particular matchup I know that I need to close the distance as quickly as possible, right? It doesn't really matter. He needs to do as much damage from range, and I need to close the distance. I shoot my Empire Knights and Hounds off to the left flank. We'll see them in about an hour because of the map. And yeah, so we're just going to be charging up the center here. and we're gonna be eating all sorts of shit because this guy brought the heat. Looks like he brought the entire Empire arsenal, and this thing in the middle is not really helping my cause. So I realize the magnitude of firepower that this guy has, and I need to throw something back. So I throw a sucker punch and I spirit leech his lord. No regrets, no honor whatsoever. Alright, so boom, first engagement, he plows his Empire Knight straight into the Forsaken on my left flank. Right at the very next second, the Flaming Vortex shoots up on my right flank, but my line mostly moves past it. My left flank and Lord basically murk those knights in a second, and then I actually jam my Exalted Hero straight into his grill. Right into the center of his line, and I do this to gum up the works. It's a bit risky, but he sacrificed that cab unit to buy himself time, buy himself another volley, right? And I wanted to mitigate that. So we're already starting to collapse on him. We're zerging him on the right, which is actually pretty sloppy on my part, but that's because I'm concentrating a lot harder on the left flank because I have his Lord in my crosshairs. He's vulnerable, but the problem is because he's on foot, he flies around whenever he gets hit, or I hit him. So it actually takes a lot longer for me to kill him than I want. Alright, so at this point, the wavering starts happening, right, because his infantry is getting completely overrun, so he's resorting to cycle charging, which he has to do with his cav, but the problem with that is that those demigryphs are the only thing that can threaten my manticores, my large terror-causing units on the field when they're being used to hurt my infantry. Granted, I get it, but... and here they come, fashionably late, riding in the Riders of Rohan, my Chaos Knights, which I forgot about, so... And yeah, at this point now, it's gotten super gummed up, and there's a lot of wavering going on because of terror. This is the power of terror. I mean, at this point, he has the guy cycle charging in the back, which is good. You know, it's good play on his part for sure. There was a surprise demi in the rear. No one likes that. But yeah, the point is that, you know, his hammer and anvil isn't really working because when your anvil falls apart, when your infantry won't stick around at all, then your hammer has no anvil to fall on. And it's kind of a lesson in the importance of a core and the importance of the front line, right? Because when you spend a lot on auxiliary things like cavalry and artillery and magic, it's all kind of means nothing when your front line collapses that easily. And that's kind of where the Chaos excel. But he still does have some units with health, especially that Bright Wizard up there, and so does my Chaos Lord. Yeah, his Lord becomes such a pain that I do eventually end up literally sniping him with Spirit Leech. My units were just not being effective at dealing with him. It's deceiving how much harder it is to do when he's on foot. But this game will end up being about leadership and the power of terror. Wavering started early and happened often. He probably wavered 3 or 4 times for every, one of my units that wavered, right? He had the range advantage and the cav advantage, and even the magic was about equal, but I had the leadership and I had the infantry. So, moving like a wrecking ball, trying to stay together-ish, that thing in the middle didn't really help me out, but moving like a wrecking ball with that terror can be super, super strong.